Remember when you said we'd stay together now until forever? Just us. Said we wouldn't be like all the others, fight and hurt each other. Not us. But we let each other down, yeah. Yeah, we let each other down.
So we got a case review today, but we're going to do it a little bit different. What we're going to do, we're going to build into this computer case, which is the Phalanx, which is by Kolink. And you've seen a couple of my reviews on the cases. Not a bad case. This is a MIDI-sized case. So I'm going to be putting in my components, and I think the biggest graphics card I've got is a 2080 Ti, so that's going to go in there. And then I'm just going to use a normal standard ATX motherboard with a little bit of RGB flair to it, and some RGB RAM, and obviously a power supply, because you need a power supply to go. But I'm not using SSDs or mechanical hard drives. Got an NVMe in there as well, but I'm going to be testing it, so we'll test for thermals and see how well it does in real world results. Probably a few synthetic benchmarks, but mainly it's going to be about real world results. And yeah, just looking at the case, it doesn't look too bad, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion of what it's like to build in. Is it easy of use or not easy of use? But what I've got to do first is build into it. So let's do that first, and then I'll speak about the case afterwards. As you can see, it's actually completely built now. I'll put like the biggest components in, except for the CPU air cooler. I didn't even realise, I didn't even clock it here, but I should have really realised this. This is only 100 watt TDP, but another video on this as well, because it's just going to be down to an experiment if it can actually cool the 9900K without overclocking, just normal standard stuff. But other than that, this case has got 3 120mm RGB fans, and also, actually it's got 4. It's got one on the back for exhaust as well, but none at the top. You can put a 240 or a 120 at the top with no problems for a radiator. As you can see, there's a pretty much of a big gap there that doesn't cover over the MOSFETs and heat sinks and stuff. You can put a decent size in there. I like the styling of the shroud. It's like little fins, like what you get on a shark, well, not little fins, quite big fins. And it goes right away through for optimal cooling. If you opt to like have mechanical hard drives, you can put 2 3.5-inch mechanical hard drives or 2.5-inch mechanical hard drives in that bay there, which I'll show you in a minute. But shroud's completely covered, and I'll just come back to the front later on. But around the back there, you can see that I've just tidied up a little bit of cable mess. There's not that much room to get the cable mess away. I haven't got all the cables even in that power supply. Now that power supply, if you look up the size for an Asus ROG 4 power supply, it's an 850 watt power supply. You can see how big that power supply is with what I'm working with right now. Anyway, this case is fully RGB. So you've got a box there, you can plug in some more RGB fans there. You can probably plug in another, you can probably put in 10 fans in here, no problem whatsoever. Now you can see it's got big cutout holes, and it's not exactly routed really nicely, but it doesn't cut your fingers and it's quite cheap. and also these tie-off points as well for your case, and then you've got a protruding cutout as well for your 24-pin and your PCIe graphic card cables as well. Anyway, these are where your brackets are as well, so there's no screws tying them down, but there is screws that come with it to tie these down. I think they're plastic, like Phillips screws that go on there, like thumb screws you normally get on the more cheaper cases. But yeah, you can put your 2.5-inch mechanical hard drives or 3.5-inch mechanical hard drives there, no problem, or SSDs. So you can put 5 SSDs all together, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which is a little bracket there. As you can see, the cables are a bit not routing really nicely and stuff, but it's a cheaper case at £70, so it will do the job. It has got a 2-finger width all the way around the case to obviously put your case cables in. But anyway, on the top we've got power button, headphone jack, microphone jack, 2 USB 2s and USB 3, and a reset button, and all the LED lights indicators for your mechanical hard drives running. 7 expansion slots on the back there, which is standard. Then you've got this like little bracket, and it just literally push from the back, and then pull from the top, and it's open. Then we've got 2 hinges there for the window. Then when you close the window, it doesn't sit flush, it kind of just flips open, so just take it off when you're building it and it's all good. Then got my little retention bracket on there. I don't really like the feel of that. It doesn't look too clever on there. But anyway, the overall of making it, how easy it was to build in there, it was pretty simple because the cutouts are really madly big. And yeah, probably could put an extended motherboard in there. Actually saying that, it probably could. The whole case will set you back £70, so I don't think it's that bad because it's easy to build in. All we need to do is just obviously connect it up to a game and start playing real world results, see where we get on. Let's do that. Also noted, there's a actual cheap like filter at the bottom there as well, and that can keep your power supply nice and dust free. It's not magnetic or anything like that. It's pretty sharp, so watch your hands. And obviously a dust filter at the top, which is magnetic. Woo! So let's turn it on. And let's see what we got here. Because obviously, this case does come with a remote control as well. Ooh! That looks good. Oh! Of course. Cool. So I can turn them off. I can turn them on. Oh wow! I could, so this is, I'm aiming the remote at you. So I'll click on. Turn them off. So that's good, because what I hate about the remotes, you have to find where the sensor is, but the sensor's nowhere to be found. Oh yeah, another thing I hate about that cable, the USB 3 is connected with the USB 2, and it's about this short, and it's really freaking annoying. So I'm gonna have to hide that. If you've got nice components like this, you don't really want that. So what can we do then? We got oh, that looks cool. Oh, okay, that looks cool. So you can do quite a few bits to it, obviously. We've got red in there. I don't know how many functions there are, but it just looks like you can do way too much. That's cool, that's it. For the case at £70, that's good. Anyway, it's not about how good the RGBs are and the remote and all the system and everything. It's about connecting it up to the actual computer or actual monitor. And let's have a look to see what the thermal is going to be. Right, so as you can see on the side here, the CPU is not overclocked. This is a 9900K. It's always got a 2080 Ti graphics card in there, and all the other bells and whistles. But that's the temperature we're at the moment. I've just really done it from a cold boot, so it's around just a little bit under 40 degrees and the maximum 41 degrees. But I think I know what's gonna happen with obviously CPU throttling, but that's gonna be because it's probably got the CPU cooler with 100 100 TDP watt rating. So anyway, let's the case, to be honest with you, it's nice because it's breathing pretty well. It's only got a strip right down the front, so it's not completely widely open, but it has got an exhaust on the back. It's got a ZBA cooler, then you've got the graphic card fans, then you've got PSU fans, and then you've got 3 fans on the front for intake. But anyway, let's start the process and watch CPU rise. So this is what we're looking at the moment. We're at 75 degrees. And we're going to probably start hitting thermal throttling soon. 100% CPU usage. 85, 83. And you can hear it, it sounds like a wind turbine. But I'm just seeing how well these little cool fans at the front can cool down the system. We're at 89 degrees. 87. 92 on one core, 91, 90, 93. I reckon we're going to definitely hit a CPU. There we go. CPU throttling overheated detected, but it's only at 0%. We've got a little blip at the bottom there. 6%, but this is nothing to do with the case. So what I can see from these readings as well is that the case is cooling it down pretty quickly and it's not as bad. I had another CPU air cooler in, or CPU AIO, and it wasn't even screwed down properly, and where the case was like struggling, it literally just killed it. It just went red all the way up straight away and hit the hundreds really quickly. At the moment it's nearly at 100 degrees, but this is a 100 watt TDP CPU air cooler, so it's not for that CPU. But it just shows that it's still cooling. It's going up and up, but yeah. So I'll leave this running for another 15 minutes and then we'll have a look and check for gaming and seeing what real world results look like while we're gaming. Right, so we had this computer on for, I would say 15 minutes, and then I'll only have it for an hour. So at the moment it's been going for like 50 minutes and CPU throttling at 41%, but technically this is a CPU air cooler, but we need to produce heat to see how the case will be able to overcome and make it cooler. And I'll tell you what, it's only hit 41% overheating for over an hour, and this is where it's using all the CPU cores at its fullest potential power and performance, but also 56 and 53 degrees, because obviously the CPU is hot, heat sinks will be hot, and it's made this actually rise. But it's not rise that much, so it is definitely a good case for cooling. Even though it's got a little strip down the middle, it is still taking intake of cool air for 3 fans at 120 each, and also an exhaust at the back. And if you want to further cool down the heat sinks and the MOSFETs and stuff like that, then you can add in another 2 120mm fans at the top. So far so good. But now to do the realistic real world gaming and see how we get on. So I was actually meant to turn this off hours ago, but then left it on, left it running. So it's been going for 2 hours 4 minutes long at the full processes of all the CPU cores at maximum. Now it's got CPU throttling at 41%, overheating detected, we already know that, but it's literally just stayed at 41% for the last hour and a bit. That's pretty decent. But temperature is still keeping cool, 56 and 52 for the actual CPU motherboard. Now this is a good little experiment because you need to have heat to find out if this case can dissipate it. Now if you listen to the audible sound of the fans at the moment, and that's what you're dealing with. It's not really that loud, it's not really that annoying. If you had headphones on, if you had headphones on, you'll be okay. But other than that, you can see like the CPU is all at 100 and everything like that, and it's still dissipating heat and it's still running quite fine. So I can still move around and do whatever I want to do on the screen. That can still go to. So I'm using all my whole CPU and everything right now. So it like literally doesn't really move because obviously it takes its time to go when you're actually got all your CPUs running. So there you go. I've got my CPU running. I mean, I've got Google on the page, so that's pretty cool. Temperature, 56 and 52. 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 still the same. So everything's still exactly the same. But if we were doing this in real world results, then it will be fine. So let's just power this down right now. So if I go to stop, listen to the fans ramping down, temperature should go down as well. So CPU usage has gone down to 16% from 100%. It's taken a while to cool down, but we're dropping down to 81s and 75 degrees at the moment, which is awesome. It's all right. So heat throttle lid is gone down now. So if I move the mouse about, it's fine. Everything's fine. I can go into Google and everything will be a lot more snappier now and quicker because I'm not using that at the moment. As you can see, really quick. You probably thought it was broken then, so just proving you wrong. Everything's all good. So everything's right back to the normal speed. Now let's do some real world results for gaming. So as you can see, at the moment, I'm hitting a maximum of 75 degrees on the CPU 1 core, and all the other cores are like really below the 60s. And then we've got my average duration of usage, which is about 30 to 40 to 50%. No overheating detected. So the case is doing a nice bit of cooling. As you can see, I'm moving about and everything like so. Still no thermal overheating detected, and still in a very clear control of thermal frequencies right there. Oh, look, people are getting killed already and they ain't even landed yet. Oh my God, look, jeez. I don't even know if I want, oh, look, people dropping in there. Oh, no. Oh, no, don't let me drop down there. Oh, no, you never. No. Right, let's have a look at that anyway. What was that spiked up on? See that? Like, this is real world results. So I was using a certain amount of percentage. You can see this is where it clearly spiked and that. And this is where the temperature is at 68 to 65. If you're looking for a case that's £70 and you want to get with a competition, it's got RGB fans, it can fit 280, 240. I've already said this in a video, but put it this way, it's got plenty of room and it's a midi-sized case. It looks nice, a bit plasticky, but it's got glass, it's got decent thumb screws on there and all that. It's got a filter in the right place. The only things I didn't like about it was obviously the back bits where you break them off, because if you ain't using a graphics card and using onboard graphics, because the graphics card's gone or whatever, you're going to have that big hole in there unless you've got other little plates that you can put in there and screw them down, which they do include the screws. They do include the actual tool as well for the standoffs, so you're going to need to have one of them. And there's two different versions, which I didn't know. You can get thicker, bigger standoffs, and you've got smaller ones. That takes the smaller standoff brass screws, so just make sure that you can get the tool for that, tighten it up. If you tighten it with the pliers, you have to be careful that it's not going to literally scratch the case and stuff. But yeah, the case has got a bit of potential. It's got loads of cables in there, but I didn't use any sort of you know, like spaghetti junction cables. I just literally used a modded like a modded power supply. So that's 24 pin, 3 EPS connectors, 2 PCIe connectors, 1 Molex connector, and I had 1 eSATA power connector. And it's got, like, if you look at it, it's a 850 watt power supply, so you can definitely see how many bits that are connected on the cables. But it's not done too bad. The case with all the components, that's like £4,000 worth, maybe about £3,500 worth inside that computer case, and the case is £70, and it looks stunning. It looks alright. It looks okay, but just a little bit plasticky, and it's got a little bit of metal here and there. But other than that, yeah, I would definitely recommend it because it keeps your case cool. So the thing is, it's got the RGB in it, but it's not like sealed off with glass and suffocating it. It's doing all right, so I have to recommend it. So if you want to buy this case, and you've seen, obviously I played the game in real world results, temperatures are a lot lower, everything else was a lot higher because I was using 100% of the processors and that, and logical processors. Just literally hit the link in the description down below and buy that. And then obviously, if you want to support the channel, merch store down below, click on them links there as well. And also subscribe and share, let everyone know about this actual case, because it's a decent case. Plus I've got them with RGB fans as well, and you can turn them off pretty easily. And you don't even need to point it at the case, you can point it anywhere and it works, so that's cool. Anyway, subscribe, share, like, follow me on all social media platforms. See you next one. Thanks for watching. Roger and out.